Hello, hello, everybody. Talati Dottie and everybody. Are you there? Just checking in. It is Manifest Monday. It is time to get busy once again. Hello, hello, hello. If you're on, we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. Let me just once again. This is Bishop Perry Ford. How you doing, Keith? How you doing, Daisy? This is Bishop Perry Ford along with my co-host tonight. Let me bring on the stage Bishop May Ford. We are all here. Hello, Sean. Hello, Daisy. Hello, Keith. Hello, Liz. All right, we are here today to talk to you about, and you can see at the bottom, it is the trap of comparison. The trap of comparison. If you want a little thing, stay in your own lane. Stop looking at other people and stay in your own lane. So we're going to get started with that on today. All right, I see him checking in. I see you, Prophetess Jackie. I see you, Prophetess Tammy. I see you, Deaconess. I see you, my son, Deacon Sean. I see you, Troy, Deacon Troy. Minister Troy. All right, let's get started. For Lottie Dottie and everybody, here we go. We're going to be talking about the trap of comparison. And we're going to be looking at Galatians 6, 4 through 5. Galatians 6, 4 through 5. And from the NIV, it says, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. I'm going to say that again. That sounds real good. Each one should test their own action. You got to test yourself. Now look at somebody else, test your own action. Then you, meaning you, can take pride in yourself alone. When I test my own actions and I know they're pure, I can take pride in my own self alone without comparing myself to someone else. But each one should carry their own load. Each one of us has to carry our own load. Bishop May has to carry her own load. I have to carry my own load. And each one of you have to carry your own load. So when I look at this, and I want to try to get an introduction here, comparison is a silent thief. I want to speak to you tonight about something many of us battle with, often silently, frequently unknowingly, is a mindset, a habit, and sometimes a spiritual stronghold, and it is called comparison. I'm going to say that again. It's a mindset. We battle with it. It's something that we all battle with to some degree, and often sometimes we battle with it silently. We frequently we don't even know that we'd be comparing ourselves. It's just something that we do unawareingly. But it's a mindset. Then it becomes a habit, and then sometimes it becomes a spiritual stronghold in your life, and it's called comparison. We live in a world full of images, filters, curated success, and loud celebration of people's highlights. But beneath the surface, many of us are trapped, not by what others have, but how we measure ourselves against them. And I can tell you that as a pastor, that is one of the things most pastors have issues with, comparing themselves against somebody else. And everybody didn't start the same way. I cannot compare my ministry to the ministry of someone like T.D. Jakes or Joel Osteen or Darius Daniels or Dr. Marcus Carsby or someone like that. I can't compare my ministry to something like to those, because they had their own, going back up to what it said in Galatians, they had their own load to carry. I have my load to carry here in the desert land. So I cannot get trapped up in that. And I can't get trapped up by measuring myself against somebody else. Comparison is a trap. It's a thief and a liar. Okay, Daisy, I need you to put that one in there. Comparison is a trap. It's a thief and a liar. That's what comparison is. A trap, a thief, and a liar. And here's the hard truth. As long as we're looking side to side, we'll never be able to move forward in God's purpose for our lives. Okay, I don't think y'all heard me on that one. That was enough to jump around and run and shout on that one. As long as we're looking side to side, as long as I'm looking to the person on my left, as long as I'm looking to the person on my right, as long as I'm looking side to side, I can never move forward in God's purpose. I remember on the rifle range before you were able to fire, the coaches, they would say already on the left. So the coaches would look to the left to make sure the people on the left had their weapons in the right position and they were in right position to be able to fire that round already on the left. But they were looking left and right for safety reasons. You don't need to look left and right. You're not on the range. You're in God's purpose for your life. So I'm going to bring in Bishop May, and she's going to talk to you about our first point on tonight. Come on in, Bishop May.
Good evening, everyone. It's such an honor to be here. And this subject is so prevalent throughout the world, not just throughout the body of Christ, but throughout the world. As people, we have the tendency to compare ourselves one with another. At some point in our life, we have done some comparison. And there's a danger, there's a trap in comparison because it steals from you. There's a danger in comparison. It distorts your identity. If we look at Psalms 139:14, it tells us, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You were designed uniquely by the hand of God. Your personality, your calling, your gifting, even your struggles are part of your testimony. But comparison will tell us you're not good enough. It makes us wish we were someone else. It makes us wish we had something else. If only I looked like them, or only if I could sound like them, or if only I could preach or teach like them, if only I had the house they had or the job they have, or even the ministry they have, if I could have the family they had, if I could even have the opportunity or the friends they had. Comparison robs you of your identity. It's not found, your identity is not found in others, it's found in Him. And God has created each one of us on purpose, for a purpose. You're uniquely and fearfully made. But what we do is that we end up comparing ourselves, Bishop, one with another. And we don't have the time to just really embrace who God has made us. And also it doesn't allow us to embrace the differences that are in others. We compare ourselves instead of appreciating the differences that God has made each one of us to bring into the table. So as we grow, as we branch out, if we embrace what Christ has for us and what He's given us to do, who He's giving us to walk with, what He's put in our hands, we've got to avoid this trap called comparison. We got to be able to stand up knowing that we are who God has created us to be. And our job is to be the best us that we can be. Meaning that I can't be you and you can't be me, but I can be the best me that I can be. So when I go to God seeking Him for me. How do I get better? How do I walk off this thing you're giving me to do, God, and not saying, if I only can. We can even look back, Bishop, at the life of Moses. When God called him, he started immediately telling God what he can't do. You know, I can't speak like that. I stutter. And that's what we have a tendency to do. Instead of knowing that if God called us, He placed it in our hand. He called us for a purpose, a season, a time such as this. And He's going to give us everything needful and necessary to carry out the journey or the mission that He's placed us in. My journey is not your journey. Your journey is not mine. So the things that I need to be successful, you may not need on your journey. But I'm so busy, you know, Bishop always tells us at the Sanctuary Church that we're so busy looking over at other people's grass and we don't have time to fertilize our own. So with this series on, or these couple of weeks that we're going to do on comparison, my prayer is, Bishop, my hope is that we start looking at the grass that has been given to us, the things that Christ has put in our hands for us to fertilize and water and to cultivate, and just really to start appreciating who we are. Because you're never going to be able to appreciate who somebody else is if you don't appreciate or understand that God made you fearfully and wonderfully. He didn't make a mistake when he made you. He didn't make a forget to give you something that you need to be successful. In you is everything you need, but you're going to have to pull it out. You're going to have to understand that you bring something uniquely to the table that nobody else can bring. And so as we go down through this journey and we look at comparison, and our goal is not to distort our own identity with trying to compare ourselves to someone else. You're never going to be able to appreciate who you are or even what God is giving you to do if you spend your life trapped in this trap of comparison. Only if I had it, if I was a little taller, if I was a little short, if I had a little more intelligent, if I had a little of more of this, if only I had the money they have, if only, you'll become paralyzed in the what ifs, and you'll never walk forward in that God has given you and the things that he's given you to do. So this is so crucial during this time when God needs his people ready. He needs us ready to carry out the mission he's given us. There's no room for comparison. We got to appreciate one another. We got to appreciate the things that God has given me to join with the things that he's given you. And together they'll create that beautiful bouquet that we're always looking for. We enjoy the uniqueness of one another. We enjoy the fact that we're not the same. We enjoy the fact that you have something that I don't have, and I have something that you don't have. But if we put it all together, everything that's needful and necessary in this season, this time, is at our disposal, because we've gotten out of that trap of comparison, and now we don't compare ourselves with one another, but we complement one another. Bishop, it's back to you.
Wow, that was so powerful. I hope y'all heard what was shared here. Don't distort. I'm seeing, don't distort your own identity by comparing somebody. Cynthia said, you can't thank God for your blessing if you're constantly comparing your life to someone else. And you are a beautiful bouquet. I mean, it's kind of comparison to what I talked about. If I had $99.99 and I needed 1 penny, you would think that penny is worthless. And that's how we look at ourselves when we compare ourselves with somebody else. We're saying that this 1 penny is not important enough. It's not valuable enough. It can't add nothing to the table. But if it's what's missing to make it whole, then you are what's making it whole. And one of the things that comparison does, it robs you of your joy. Let's be honest. Have you ever looked at someone else's life and suddenly felt like yours wasn't good enough? Come on, we friends, we family. Let's talk. Have you ever looked at somebody else's life? And Bishop May used to tell me this all the time. Every time we would buy a house and we go to somebody else's house, I'd be like, oh man, their house is because I wouldn't think about the house I had. I was so looking at somebody else's house and what was in their house that wasn't in my house and all of that. And that's the stuff that takes your joy away. You just bought, I'm buying a house, even a car. I buy a car, I get happy, I'm driving and then somebody buy a car and it's like, oh man, I wonder if I should have bought that. You lose the joy of what God is doing when you start devaluing what you have. In that sense, and when Theodore Roosevelt said it even better, comparison is the thief of joy. If you want to know what can steal your joy, it is the thief. It's a thief. Comparison is a thief. That's how it is. You buy a dress and you go to church and you think this, and then somebody got a dress on that you like better than the one you got. Now all of a sudden the dress that you bought that you fell in love with, now you don't like anymore. because of somebody else's. That has nothing to do with you. And a lot of it, and I'm gonna just be real about it, a lot of it has to do with a low self-esteem. We grew up in an environment where we were not valued, so we don't think we're valued. Everybody else was more valuable than us. So when we look at everybody else, we look at everybody else under a microscope of us being less than us being who we are. I am so thankful that God made me who I am. I am not like anybody. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I couldn't be TD Jakes. I couldn't be Marcus Cosby. I couldn't be Darius Daniels. I couldn't be Terry Anderson. I couldn't be none of those because those people are who God created them to be. But I tell you who I can be. I can be Bishop Perry Ford. And nobody can beat me being, they can often imitate it, but seldom duplicate it. You cannot make another me. God only made one. And when you start looking at things from the periscopal, from the lenses rather, of you being less than, or somebody got something better than, then you're missing out. Instead of being grateful for your blessings, we always complain about what we don't have instead of thanking God for what we have left. We always look at that from that perspective of, oh man, I ain't got this and I ain't got. How about thanking God for what you have? Then you end up starting resenting people because they have what you think you should have. Can I tell you, we all can't handle the same thing? That's why we're uniquely made. There's some things that some of you that are viewing right now could deal with that I couldn't deal with. But there's some things that I could deal with that you can't deal with. But I'm not jealous of you. I'm happy. Like my spiritual father said, when the coffee, either the cup or the saucer, I'm gonna be blessed one way or the other. From the overflow or from the flow in, I'm still gonna be blessed. So I can't look at you. I'm staying in my lane. I'm running my race. That's what I was wanted to use as a subtopic. Run your race, stay in your lane. I used to run track and field, and you would be in lane one. And in some, depending on the distance of the run, you had to stay in that lane for the entire run. Now, in some cases, I think it's like the 800 meters. After you make that first lap, then you can move over into the first lane. But when you run the race, in most cases, you have to stay in your lane. You trained. How did you train? To run your race. Now, in some cases, they put what they call a rabbit out front. That person is supposed to set the pace for the people that are running these long distance races. But that person will fall off because he was never intended to finish the race. He was just there to get him to stay on course. You trained. You know what your course is. You know what your calling is. You know what your gifting is. You know what your blessings are. You know what you're anointed to do. Stay in your lane. I know what I'm anointed to do. I can be used prophetically because I have an apostolic gift, so I can flow in every gift there is. But my main gifting is apostolic. That's what I'm like a flow. I can flow all over, but I'm not a prophet. I don't call myself a prophet. I can operate in that gift, but I don't call myself that. I don't call myself an evangelist. I can operate in that, but I'm not called that. So we got to understand, what are you and who are you and why are you so impressed with somebody else's gifting when it's not yours? Comparison turns everyone win into a loss. When you start comparing, now you're going to turn your win into a loss. Not because of what God hasn't done, but because of what he has done for someone else. I wanted that. How come God didn't do that for me? A lot of times, it's just like I say with cars. I would never give my great-grandson Kingston the keys to my car. First of all, he can't even see over the steering wheel, so he's not physically ready to get in a car to drive. Number two, he's 4 years old, so he's not mentally prepared to drive the car. And number three, he has not been trained. He doesn't have the experience to drive the car. So he can't do what he see me do, not because it's because he's not able to do it. And sometimes we got to understand that's not my calling. And now I hear this in the spirit. So let me clarify this because I caught this real quick. Don't go around saying, well, that's not my calling, when you know that's your calling. That's another thing. Don't go around, that ain't my calling. Yes, it is. And stop playing. You can't walk in joy while carrying jealousy. That's how I'm gonna end that one right there, and I'm gonna flip that on over. You can't walk in joy while carrying jealousy. I'm telling you, and I'll end with this. When Bishop May got saved first, I got saved later. Everybody know my story. You know, I heard the Spirit of the Lord telling me now I never got saved. So as we were going through our spiritual walk with God, I would watch Bishop May, and she could go from telling you the A, B, C, D, and then she could be right in the spirit, right, just that quick. She eloquently speaks. Y'all, you hear right now. She can just talk without any effort, thought, or whatever. She doesn't have to prepare for that. It's natural in her. And when we first got married, close your ear, honey. I don't want you to hear this. I was jealous because I'm like, I'm the man, but she the more spiritual one than me. I kept saying she more spiritual than me. And then when God called me the pastor, I said, it can't be me. I said, I'm supposed to be Dave like Joyce Myers. You know, Joyce Myers up front, Priscilla Shears, all those people, they up front. I'm just going to be Dave. I'm going to be sitting in the audience and waving. And they go, hi, that's Dave out there. Hi, Dave. You know, I'm going to be Deacon Dave, Brother Dave, whatever. That I can't compete with her because she's better than me. But what I realize is, and what I was missing in the whole picture, it wasn't that she was better than me. It was that she completed me. Oh, y'all didn't hear. So I'm walking in jealousy instead of completion. Because together, we are a dynamite team that cannot be beat. Now they say can't stop, can't, whatever they say. We can't beat. We're a dynamite team. Together we are. And individually we can do our own thing, but we are all more powerful when we're together because we complement each other. And that's what I had to learn in my walk with jealousy. I was jealous of my own wife because I thought she was better than me. Oh God, how could I'm the man? Why can't she just go shot in the spirit and just give people words? Why is that happening? Because I had to learn who I was before I could ever become anything God wanted me to be. All right, Bishop, man, take it back.
Oh, Bishop, this is so good. And when you talk about that you can't walk in joy when you're carrying jealousy, when we look at comparison, it breeds so many, it's just got so many branches that's sticking out of it. When we look at it, it carries along with it jealousy and envy. It carries along with it self-esteem, just so many things that attach itself to you when you're walking in comparison one with another. And so it's so vital that we really get a hold of this and we really do some self-examination. One of the detriments to the body of Christ is we don't truly examine ourselves. Even when words come across, we can tell you who that word fit and who should be here. And I hope they heard that. But your spiritual growth comes when any word that is delivered, you do some self-evaluation of yourself and find out, is there any root of that in me, God? And if it is, reveal it to me, because my whole desire is to walk in the way that God has called me to walk. So when we look at this thing called comparison, it's one of those things that's easily creeped in. May not be something that you walk in all the time, but if you're not careful, it can very easily creep in without you even knowing. Comparison breeds one or two things, Bishop. It breeds either pride or insecurity. So it can take different forms in different people. It may come out as in a form of pride. It may come out in you as a form of insecurity, jealousy, envy, but it's going to come out some kind of way. So when we look at Luke 18, 9 through 14, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector, it said, God, I thank you that I'm not like other people, the Pharisee said. That's pride born out of comparison. So when we think about comparison, we think sometimes it only takes the form of, oh, I'm so lowly, I'm not worthy, I can't, I can't fit his shoes or whatever. But there's a form of comparison that comes out and born out of pride. You're so prideful that you're glad, you're puffed up, you're not like someone else. I'm glad that's not me. And we have a tendency, if we're not careful, we'll start looking down at people, and we will use other people to make ourselves feel good about ourselves, because I'm glad I'm not like them. Well, you may not be like them in that area, but in some areas they are, I'll use the word superior, but in certain areas, they are superior to you. And I don't mean that superior in over you, but we all have faults and frailties. We all have things that somebody can do better than we can. But when we walk in pride, we think that we can do better at everything than anybody else. And if it doesn't look the way I would do it, then it's not the right way. So we don't have time to really appreciate what other people bring to the table, because we're so busy comparing what we can do. The other form that it comes in, Bishop, is a form of insecurity, and talked about a little bit about that, thinking you're not good enough, you're not worthy. If only I could do this the way that they did, or if only I had this, or only I could, attain this, then I would be this. So when you look at both of those, there are different ends of the spectrum, but it still ends up with the same result. Comparison is like a seesaw. You're up 1 minute, you're down the next, up 1 minute and down the next. Because the truth of the matter is, you're going to always see somebody that's ahead of you in certain things, and people that are behind you in certain things. If we really walk the way Christ wanted us to walk, we got our hand extended to the ones going before us so they could help pull us up. But at the same time, we got our other hand extended for those that we need to pull up. So you're too busy to compare yourself one with another. It becomes that you're at a standstill. Now I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving because I'm so busy. I'm so focused on what someone else is doing. I don't have time, or I don't have the energy or the skills to look at what God wants me to bring to the table. Do you know that God, and I tell the Sanctuary Church this quite often, God just amazes me, because he's so wise that he didn't put everything that's needful and necessary in one person. Because if he did, we would think we are God. And so what he did is he gave a piece to Bishop, and he gave a piece to me, and he gave a piece to all of those that are watching via whatever form of social media you're watching. I like to do puzzles, and there's nothing that's more aggravating to me than when I finish a puzzle and there's piece missing. It could be one small piece. It could be a 1,500 piece puzzle, and it's not complete because that one small piece is missing. And I'm looking everywhere for that one piece. It got to be here. Did it go? Did the kids put it in their pocket and they went home with them? Where is my piece of my puzzle? Because it's just not complete, because that one piece is not missing, even though there's 1,499 pieces in place. I need that one to be complete. So when we start looking at people and we think we don't need what they bring to the table, it's not a completed picture until all the pieces are in place. So we've got to stop feeling that we're so puffed up or so full of pride that we don't need anybody else. Or on the other hand, we can't be so insecure that we feel nobody needs us. So when we fall in that comparison trap, it's very easy to take one side of the other of that seesaw. It's to you, Bishop.
I'm sorry, I was getting so excited about what it said, I forgot I was on mute. That was beautiful, as always, and I'm gonna, I know Prophetess Jackie put in 2 Corinthians 10:2, and I want to read. I ask that when I do come, I will not be driven to the boldness that I intend to show toward those few who regard us as if we walked around to the flesh like men without spirit. We got to make sure we don't walk around arrogant and puffed up and thinking we're better than anybody else. And this has been so great. I love that part about the puzzle. You're looking at the first piece that was laid down and being envious because it was the first piece. But you may be the 2,000 piece of a 2,000 piece puzzle. But the puzzle is not complete until they put you in place. Now the picture is seen. Now everything looks like the box. Oh, that is so awesome. Well, as always, we're all out of minutes, but we're not all, we're all out of message, but we're not out of we're all out of time, but we're out of message. And I just want us to, that was just the first. That was just talking about the danger of comparison, how comparison distorts your identity, how comparison robs you of your joy, and how comparison breeds insecurity, pride or insecurity. We're going to pick this back up next week, and we're going to take a slow roll because we don't want to just run through this, because this is important. Because some people might say, well, I don't need it because I'm not jealous. And you probably the first one that need it. I'm just going to say. But the issue is maybe you don't need it. Invite somebody to that you think may need it. Or maybe you should just get all the information and then you can help somebody identify. Because I'm telling you, you can never identify until you see yourself. And you'll never conquer what you won't confront. And sometimes we have to confront. I said it on Sunday. It wasn't the enemy, but it was the enemy in me. And until I understand that I have an issue, and I had to come to that point, I'm jealous of my own wife, insecurity, because I thought she was better than me, rather than we completed each other and made each other better for one another. And that's something. Now, I know some of you, well, I don't have that. Well, I'm telling you, when you start saying I don't have, usually you do have. Most of us, the Bible, when we look at the Bible, it says, search me, O Lord, and see if there's anything in me that's not pleasing to you. That's how we should approach this comparison trap, the trap of comparison. Search me, O Lord. Am I jealous? Am I losing joy because of this? Am I operating in pride? Am I operating in arrogance? Lord, search me. I don't want to be someone who's walking around comparing myself, looking to the left or to the right. I just want to be what you called me to be. All right. It's been fun, as we used to say back in the streets, but we got to run. It's been a blast, but we got to pass. As my spiritual father always say, if I don't see you in the air, I'll meet you up in the air. And anyway, we'll be together come Monday, next Monday on Manifest Monday. Come on, join us. Be excited about what God is doing. And on another note, come on into the Sanctuary Church this Sunday. We've had some off the wall services. Praise and worship has been growing. The church is moving, is expanding. The thing we did on Saturday with the back to school, everything this is the season to grab on. I'm telling you, get in place, stay in your lane, and run your race. It's been fun, been a blessing. Grace and peace.